Hey guys, welcome back again to Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof is in the singing. I'm continuing my series on how to sing like, and next up is Joe Elliott from Leppard. If you wouldn't mind, please like and subscribe to my channel. That'd be really cool. Don't forget to ring the bell so I can keep new cool videos coming your way. And I have a singing course, and the course is called How to Sing Better Than Anyone Else. You can find it right here at kentamplinvocalacademy.com. I also have a singing forum with about 20,000 singers in there, all negotiating, discussing the Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy method and how to get to these great places in singing in hopes to help make you great at singing. So I want to get started. I'm just going to go right into this. Now, I did get a chance to meet Joe a couple of times, and I'm going to tell a little bit more about that as we go, but I want to dive right into Photograph. This is me covering it, and I want to mention one other quick thing. I love the Einstein quote that demonstration isn't a way to teach. It's the only way to teach. So I see a lot of vocal coaches on the internet, and I see a lot of talking, but I don't see them demonstrating anything with their own voices or their students' voices. And if I do, very little. And I don't mean a little tip or a trick or how to kind of sing like someone or sound like someone. I mean full-blown demonstrations. So guys, if you really want the goods and you really want to understand how to do this stuff, you really need to see someone that can do it themselves and display students that do it themselves. And again, let me remind you, would you go to a guitar instructor that couldn't actually show you how to do it all the way through a song? Or would you go to a piano teacher or a drum teacher, any other discipline? Why is it then in singing, people can actually talk about it, not do it themselves, but they're gonna actually think they're gonna show you how to do it. So really kind of get your brain around that. So let's get started. This is Photograph, and let's rock. Before we go on, I chose this song because it was actually one. First of all, it's hard sometimes to get the rights to do things on YouTube, especially. So you do things you're allowed to do. But this was, I think, the very first song I ever heard of Leppard, and I remember driving along going, wow, who is that? Now, it's ironic, too, that the producer of this album, Mutt Lange, Robert John Lange, also got to meet him, too, a couple of times, was the previous producer of AC/DC. So can you kind of hear some of the influences of AC/DC with maybe more production, right? Think of, I don't know, You Shook Me All Night Long or whatever. You can kind of get like the feel of that. And then he, strangely enough, went on to marry and produce Shania Twain. I know they're not together anymore, but anyway, but I bring this up because when I was way back in like 84 or 5, I can't remember, but I got a chance to be behind stage or in the backstage of Monsters of Rock festivals, particularly in Germany. And the bill was, Def Leppard and Bon Jovi and Ozzy Osbourne and the Scorpions, a lot of great bands on the bill. And I got to hear Joe warm up in his trailer, and it was really trippy because his warm up was, hey, oh, all right. You betcha! Hey! Whoa! 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 Wow! And I'm not kidding. He did that for like 15, 20 minutes, and then he went out and he sang, right? So in the spirit of when I do these how to sing likes, I try to add enough elements of those singers in it to where you go, okay, yeah, I get it. That kind of sounds like that singer, but it also sounds like Ken Tamplin. The reason I bring it up is those kinds of exercises, it might have helped Joe, and Joe, in my opinion, isn't like a melodic singer. He's more of, like a rock kind of stabby sort of singer with an outrageous amount of production behind him. So I suspect, if you had an acoustic guitar and you're singing to listen to Joe Elliott, would you rather listen to Paul McCartney or Joe Elliott? You know what I mean? So, I'm not dissing Joe, he's incredible range, incredible stamina, incredible power, crazy production and so forth. But if you strip it all away, in fact, if you go on YouTube, there's the isolated vocals of Joe Elliott and Def Leppard, and you really should take a listen to that because you're going to hear, all right, you betcha, rock of ages, Oh, all right, yeah. And that's kind of what you hear. And then you hear some melodies that are being held in through a lot of amazing production. So what I've done is I've taken some of that, and we're going to kind of go through this a little more about how to get that sound, but that sounds safely. Now to go, hey, all right, yeah, all right, and really pinch and squeeze and throat, it's going to hurt you over time. Now, he's been able to sustain it for a long time, so I'm not saying that there aren't street singers. My own cousin Sammy Hagar, I mean, he's not a technically correct singer, but he's been able to hold on to it for a lot of years. So I'm not saying you can't win the lottery and do that over time and just, muscle car your way through that. But most of the guys that have tried to do that, I'd say 95% of the guys, especially the 80s guys, all of them have lost their voice, and most of the earlier guys, I mean, John Fogerty, when I hear him do, Traveling Band, or I hear him to do Fortunate One or whatever, I actually used to teach, or still do from time to time, his other guitar player, who also fills in for bass, who takes over and sings those songs for John when he can't do them. And he has good technique. He's been doing the KTVA method for a while. So the reason I say this is, so I'm going to show you again the Joe Elliott part of this, but I'm also going to show you the Ken Tamplin part of it that comes in along for the ride for healthy singing. So let's continue. Here we go. Oh, look what you've done to this rock and roll clown. You hear those kind of Dio notes, and those kind of Dio notes that I'm putting in there. I'm not going, all right, you betcha. I'm not constricted in the throat. I'm using good open throat technique. Now, I cover all of this in my singing course, how to maintain and keep the throat open first, and then you can lean into that sound for that kind of distortion and kind of have that gritty sound that Joe has, but safely, more like Ronnie James Dio or a singer like that used good open throat technique. So let's continue. Here we go. Something else Joe Elliott didn't really use a lot of, or really at all any of, is vibrato. Because the way he sings, as he pinches and squeezes and constricts the throat, it's hard to get vibrato unless it's just a forced kind of sound. So it was kind of an interesting bedfellow for me to sing a song like this with no vibrato. I mean, there's other artists that I've covered that have very little vibrato. Paul McCartney's one. He doesn't use a lot of vibrato, but he's got a great voice and he sings for the song. Joe Elliott, if you damn got a photograph picture of, there's no, it's all, like I said, a really constricted sound. So but I sing it, and I love him if you dare, so I kind of like Coverdale it up a little bit, right? With some Paul Rogers, kind of my own inflection and my own influence. So, but I'm pointing that out too. So as you listen, when I hold these long notes, like in the chorus and stuff, I'm choosing for the most part, unless I'm doing it because I want to make it sound heavier even still, I'll add more vibrato to get more of a roaring lion sound. Yes, I wore my lion shirt. I gave away my leopard shirts. I was going to wear a Def Leppard shirt, but instead I wore a lion shirt in honor of. But so let's continue. Here we go. Let's do this together. So, you got some kind of hold on me. Right, he's real in the face. You got some kind of hold on me. And he's doing everything he can to pull back that air. Now, let me ask the question to you guys. Who else does something like this? Well, what did I say the producer was of this? AC/DC, right? Bon Scott used to kind of use a strictured sound like that too. Go back, listen to some early Bon Scott. Listen to Brian Johnson. You shook me all night long. Oh yeah, all night. Right? Used a very similar kind of technique as Joe Elliott. It was different. So I suspect Joe maybe was influenced somewhat, by maybe Bon Scott and Brian Johnson and others that have done this. And he brought it into contemporizing the sound for the day with a lot of really melodic songs and some great production. But it's a very similar kind of technique. So, and I'm going to do one on Brian Johnson here at some point soon too. So stay tuned for that. But here we go. right? It's real pinch, squeeze, and I'm trying to, do the best of both worlds. And you can hear, like I said, I added a lot of vibrato sometimes to thicken it up and make it a little more robust and round and big. Now, I did also one of these with my student Gaston, Dwari Gaston. And one of the things about Gaston is he was, I think he came in second, if I'm not mistaken, for what was it? La Voz, the Voice of Mexico, La Voz Mexico. And Gaston's awesome. He does a lot of different styles. This is one that we worked on. Let's check out how Gaston did on this.
Love is like a bomb, baby, come on, get it on. Living like a lover with a radar phone. Looking like a tramp, like a video van. Demolition woman, can I be your man?
Now he's doing the same thing. Now, by the way, Axl Rose does this too. So, Emily's a woman and a be your man. Sugar me, yeah. Right? So it's real pinched and squeezed. Now, Gaston is going to have to open up the sound when he goes back up top to get to higher stuff, because you're going to find that when you constrict the sound like that, it really clamps down, makes the whole body clamp down. So the interesting thing is when I was listening to Joe Elliott warm up, he didn't force the sound when he was warming. He didn't go, hey, hey, and he wasn't. He was real gentle. All right. You betcha! Hey! All right! Right? He was actually really small on the sound, so it makes it sound like he's really killing it and over singing, but he's not. He's actually singing very gently, and his volume, if you were in the room with him, his volume would be very low compared to the illusion that it gives in this giant production. So, and that's what Gaston's going to do here in a minute. Check this out.
Flash a little light, television lover, baby, go all night. Sometime and a time, sugar me sweet. You miss the innocent, sugar me, yeah. Yeah. So come on, drink the bottle, pick it up, break the bubble, break it up, put some sugar on me.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and put his version and my version. I'll put that in the description for you guys to check out. But this is the Def Leppard sound. This is the Joe Elliott sound. So if you're looking for that sound, my only recommendation, like I said, is to really, really consider trying open throat technique first so you don't get caught in some really bad habits with pinching and squeezing and choking off the chords in order to be able to get to your notes, because a lot of people do that and it can really cost you your voice over time. Okay? With that said, check out my next video.